Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Christy Nuds. I am the editor of Food in Canada, Canada's only national food and beverage processing magazine. On behalf of Food in Canada and the Canadian Institute of Food Science and Technology, welcome to Table Talks, where we bring you regular webinars that give you access to some of the leaders in the food and beverage industry. If you haven't already done so, please visit CIFST's website for a list of upcoming webinars, which we will be continuing weekly into July. If you are a member of CIFST, registration for the entire webinar series is free. Today's topic is Closing the Revolving Door, Building Skilled and Motivated Teams. Succeeding at Work launches a new fully funded employer stream. Our speaker is Deanna Zenger, Regional Coordinator at Food Processing Skills Canada. Before we kick off today's session, I want to mention that if you have any questions, please write them in the question box. I will moderate any questions at the end, and our speaker will attempt to answer them before the end of the webinar. I would like to now introduce our speaker. Deanna Zenger has been a trailblazer in the food and beverage industry for a number of years. As part of the senior team with Food Processing Skills Canada, she leads national workforce programs and represents specific labor interests in Central Canada. Deanna is recognized for her expertise in skills development and training, and is also known as a top-class public speaker able to articulate the challenges and opportunities within the industry. She brings real-time experience to the job, working with businesses, employees, and job seekers on a daily basis. Deanna has an interesting professional history as an entrepreneur, business owner, learning engineer, content and program developer, educator, and published author. Please welcome Deanna Zenger.
Well, thank you, Christy, and welcome everyone. I'd like to start today by thanking the CFIST and Food in Canada for launching the Table Talk series and inviting Food Processing Skills Canada to present its premier program, the Succeeding at Work, the Employer Stream. So Succeeding at Work is really industry support your way. We now are offering a two-model, fully funded solution that seeks to attract and educate, upskill and retain an engaged and resilient food and beverage manufacturing workplace. And here, I think I'm going to need your assistance. So basically, are you ready to manage the workforce of the future? We have a short video here by Gerd Lenhard. Can you play the video, please?
Once upon a time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. Where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change, or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, Anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business model. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen, the future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here. I'm business at.
That's great, thank you. I find that so inspirational and also a bit comforting as we talk a lot about technology and AI, which are going to be really important going forward. But we also, the person we are, and humanity is going to become even more important and have such a focus going forward. So in the post-normal era, priorities have never been more important. So priorities really haven't changed much. If you look at these three I have listed here, we have worked in these areas in one form or another. But it's how and how fast we address these priorities that really has brought us here today. So Succeeding at Work is a government program, and we have two streams. I'm going to speak a little bit about the second stream further down in the program, but our program objectives really are to support industry. Succeeding at Work goals are simple. The industry needs answers and guidance on how to best attract and retain a workforce that will adapt to rapid change. So how do we reskill and upskill an entire generation while they're on the job and not lose precious production time? What does a competency-based learning environment look like, and what should we be training and educating workers on? We need to base our future direction on data and not anecdotal evidence, and SOF seeks to develop solutions for a sustainable and effective education model for the Canadian food and beverage industry. So this is a common story that we hear out in the field. One of the biggest benefits of an educated workforce is a consistent knowledge base between all levels of workers and all shifts. So case in point, as each individual retires, they take what we call their tribal knowledge with them, making it even harder to maintain production levels as new employees are trained up. When paired with an industry struggling to even attract job applicants from younger generations, it becomes an unavoidable issue. So most companies have some sort of formalized training programs, but in practice, skills are learned through a variety of informal ways. In reality, people rely on unofficial training methods like job shadowing, which have been in common practice in our industry for decades. These traditional training methods are inherently non-standardized, and really they're an inefficient way to transfer knowledge. You really have no control over, the employer has no control over the knowledge that's being transferred. And add to this scenario, cultural and language challenges in our workplace. By 2030, all of our new workforce entrants are thought to be immigrants. So we're definitely going to have some culture and language issues there. So not only is this informal training ineffective, but it also increases safety risks and negatively impacts food product quality. In fact, 85% of quality costs are still caused by worker errors. So industry training programs still aren't where they should be. While traditional approaches were sufficient for their time, they're no longer practical and they're often costly. So welcome to 21st century skills, or what we're going to call learning in the flow of work. Learning in the flow of work will require industry to adapt to a rapidly changing world of work, and is going to test both industry and the workforce. New skills, new attitudes, new challenges we're preparing for today. So the three key elements that we're going to be focusing on are social and emotional learning, essential skills, and competencies. So we're looking at the five themes that would be the foundation of how we educate our workforce. So self-learning and knowledge, we'll see the responsibility for learning shift to the learner rather than the teacher or the business. Individuals are going to take responsibility for their own knowledge. And in fact, we see that. We see most of the enrollment in colleges right now are from mid-career individuals that are seeking to upskill or changing their career path, altogether. Competency and accreditation gains. Demonstrated competency is going to overtake book knowledge. We know that going forward. Social and emotional learning will move from training the role or the job to educating the worker to keep pace with the rapid changes in the workplace. So as we saw in the video, you or the person becomes extremely valuable. So adaptive critical thinking, learning how to learn and think and adapt becomes paramount. We never really spend a lot of time thinking about how we think or learning about how we think and how to improve that. That's going to become critical going forward. And new media or digital literacies. So generational learners, reskilling or upskilling will require digital skills to succeed. And we see that now. So going forward, the Pew Research Center did some really good studies, and they found that 87% of workers believe that it will be essential for them to get training and develop new job skills throughout their work life in order to keep up with changes in the workplace. So how are we going to do that? Succeeding at Work and Food Processing Skills Canada have developed an employer stream curriculum. So based on these themes and industry research, FPSC has developed what we call Learning and Recognition Framework. This framework is it's guiding workforce development in a competency-based approach. So using this framework, the employer stream curriculum was created. So our master course list includes workplace essential skills, technical and food safety skills, and social emotional learning. We do have a full guide available for download on our SAW website. Oops. So the courses on the master list for the employer stream, the workplace essential skills. Essential skills are gaining in importance, and I understand that we are going to have an evolution or a transition with some new essential skills going forward in the next few years. But these are the basic skills that an individual should have so they can learn other skills. So there's oral communication, thinking, document use, digital technology skills, which is gaining importance, working with others, and numeracy. The technical and food safety skills. These are validated by industry across Canada. We'll also be providing a certificate after the successful completion of each course. And you'll see under the optional sector-specific courses that those are selections that we'll make together when we meet with the employers. Obviously, someone in the meat protein industry may not want introduction to cheese making. So we do have some sectoral specificities. And social emotional learning. So Succeeding at Work will be the first program to focus on the participant. We're looking at the personal growth and development of each individual. And we've heard from industry that often it's the individual, not the skill set, that prohibits retention. So social emotional learning is the key to future skills training. And we have a good suite of programs that's included with the program. So let's just look at EQ versus IQ for a moment. So your EQ, your EQ or emotional brain is your ability to understand yourself and why you react to certain situations, versus your IQ is your measured intelligence or your ability to understand skills and so on. When it comes to how a human reacts with EQ versus IQ, your emotional brain or EQ responds faster in situations than your intelligence. You know, I think we can all relate to that just a little bit, where what is the common phrase that, you know, our mouth is in gear before our brain is? That's emotional intelligence. So we talk about soft skills a lot. Go back to that. But how do we increase our soft skills? So soft skills are high in demand. We know employers want to have them, but one must train for that. This is not something that we've been exposed to in our education systems. I know going forward, this will be part of interwoven with curriculums and you know, grade school and beyond. But how do we increase our soft skills? We do that with social emotional learning. So the social emotional learning is what we undertake to understand ourselves better and how we react to certain things. So such as adapting and seeing and being and displaying and having. These are all things that we can learn to improve upon. Okay, so let's look at, you know, this is how soft skills benefit the workplace and the individual. And oftentimes when I speak to employers, it's a misunderstood concept. If we have a course in attitude, perhaps called optimism and happiness, you know, I often get the side eye look saying, why am I teaching someone optimism and happiness? And yet when you relate it to having a positive attitude, think of what a positive attitude can do in the workplace. So not just for foundation level workers, you know, Succeeding at Work Employers Chain has been designed for new hires, for recent hires, and existing staff. So everyone has the same information and opportunity. You'll see later in our presentation comments from our first test group. Half of the participants were lead hands and supervisory personnel. So while the emphasis sometimes is on new hires or recent hires, we find that there are a lot of existing staff that haven't had the opportunities perhaps of engaging in any extra education or training because, quite frankly, they've been too busy during the operations. So when they were pooled, and this was an Ipsos Reid study, 65% said they could do better in their job if they found ways to more easily manage distressed workers. And it doesn't have to be a distressed worker. A worker could come bringing any type of situation in with them, because those roles of life and work are changing. And you're going to hear me discuss the employee experience, or EX, further in our presentation. So work is not just coming 9 to 5, clocking in, clocking out anymore. Work is an experience, and work and home, those lines are becoming blurred. So as I mentioned with EX, we know UX is the user experience on a website, but EX is the new battleground for productivity. So EX is employee experience. And when you focus it on education, you attract talent, you boost your workforce engagement, your productivity, and your retention. And all those things directly improve your business's financial performance. So when I think about what the employer benefits, or why would an employer undertake the SAW employee stream, you know, right off the bat, you have a competitive edge in recruitment. You know, it has been proven, especially with millennials, that they value education and training above all other benefits. You know, your employee retention, with people learning on the job, they become more engaged, and that directly improves audit performance. The increased adaptability, when people understand the whys of what they're doing, not just what they're doing or how they're doing, but why they're doing it, they're far more adaptable to different situations that could come up in the workplace. And our program as well, because we're funded by OLIS, the Office of Literacy and Essential Skills, literacy gains are very important to us. So we will discuss in the process of how we're going to gauge someone's literacy level as it becomes important to go through the program. And then at the end, what did this program do? We understand that literacy gains are very important in the workforce, and it has tremendous benefits to the employer. Less absenteeism. People that are engaged in the workplace tend to show up more often. There are fewer workplace accidents because there's a greater understanding of operational roles and other roles within the industry, what food safety really means, workplace safety. So as a result, we find that there's fewer accidents. And so exceptional employee experience, companies that have highly engaged workforce, studies have shown that they're 21% more profitable than those with poor or no engagement at all. So how does succeeding at work work? I've talked about a lot of different things, but let's just get down to what we do here. How does it work? It's 3 easy steps. We connect, we create, and we launch. So interested employees, contact myself or FPSC to apply, or you can apply via our website. As soon as you contact us or you apply via the website, you will be contacted by a member of the Succeeding Work team, or possibly directly with myself. We are going to meet, we're going to confer, and we're going to go into and agree. We're going to agree on the program details and when, according to your scheduling, is the best time to move forward. The program is flexible, and we want to make sure that your needs are met. So the employers, along with our SAW team, verify the course selection from our SAW master course list. As I mentioned, there are some sectoral specialties that you may not be interested in. Our master course list does contain the options for the various sectors. So not all courses may suit your needs, or you may have 1 or 2 courses that you're already receiving. You do have the option for several technical courses to be taught live, which is in person. This will be an employer choice, and certainly with everything we have in front of us, it's been a little difficult to teach live right now. So we have a number of different modalities at our fingertips. So rest assured, whether it's online or in person, those courses will be taught. Once we made those decisions, the most exciting part of this program is your custom branded portal is built. So welcome to your new institute. Being professional means looking professional, and your custom branded institute will become a source of pride in your workplace. So this is just an example of an opening shot of one of the branded portals that we've already done. The branding is going to include your logo and any images you may want us to use. So we work together. It's an interactive process to build this institute. So this is where employees will sign up and subsequently log in to take their courses. You see the 2 little buttons in the right-hand corner of the image. Your institute will have a course guide. It's going to have a video for your employees explaining what the steps are, why they should do it, and how exciting it is, and further information about the program and how important their education is, not just to themselves, to your organization as well. So we recommend that employers select a designate. This has got a mind of its own, sorry. So we recommend that an employer select a designate that will work with us and be our point of contact. Sorry, don't mean to make you dizzy here. This has got a life of its own right now, that we will need to contact during the SAW program. Okay, we're going to schedule start dates. We generally ask an employer to go between 3 and 6 sessions. And if we could have a pause just for a moment here. I need to just stop the automation here. Excuse me for just one moment. Okay, we're going to schedule the start dates. We have 3 to 6 sessions available. My apologies for this. Unfortunately, I can't get to the animation pane with our window with the GoToWebinar. Okay, so we're back to scheduling the start dates. We'll help you get the word out internally. We have materials for your lunchroom. We have videos for your, if you have a TV in your lunchroom, or that you can share during meetings. And also, once we were at this stage, and once we have developed your portal, as you remember my saying, is where the applications happen. So your staff will sign on into the portal and apply. And what happens when, you know, a worker applies through the portal, that application will go to myself, our team, and whoever the employee designate is. So together, you and your applicants decide which cohort is the most practical to attend. That's why we suggest having a number of dates already started for the cohorts to begin, because you don't want to have 5 people from one department all taking it at the same time, or, you know, it depends on your structure, your timing, and your schedule. We're totally flexible in that regard. So at the beginning of the program, because this is funded by the Office of Literacy and Essential Skills, we do a placement assessment. It is a literacy assessment, although we are not going to call it that, because individuals tend to take that in a different way than what it's meant. We do have, our courses are a CLB level about 3 or 4, so there is some technical language involved. The online courses are all narrated, so we found that even with English being a second language and some challenges there, they're easily understood, and certainly we have supports in place as well to help with that. But the placement assessment, we need to know where we're starting. In our live cohorts for our job seeker stream, we had an over 90% success rate in increasing literacy from the beginning of the program to the end. So we're hoping to see those types of gains here. So when we've gotten all these things in place, we have our big day. Now, because of situations with COVID, et cetera, we do recommend having a live orientation that takes about 3 hours, and we present the I Am Food course, and, you know, it's highly motivational. It's a lot of fun, and it just sets everyone off it sets everyone off on a good tone. Now, we can do that a number of different ways electronically now. So however we have to do it, we will make sure that we get it done. Participants also receive their very own kit folder, and that has login information, it has instruction, it has some reminders, but it's also a great place to where they can print off their course certificate at the end of each successfully completed course. Now, the employers we've stepped up to work with right now, they are in turn printing those certificates off for individuals to, you know, on nicer paper and so on, so they have that. Workers are provided logins, and now they have access to the selected courses of your choosing. Okay, we do have ongoing communication to keep them on track, and the courses will be taken in the order that they're listed. Okay, you can't hop forward. An individual cannot go to one course before the course that they're currently on is completed. And it's a 70% completion rate, you know, to be deemed successfully completed. So we have decided on a semestered approach. Okay, the courses are arranged in 4 semesters, and those 4 semesters break down the courses to manageable chunks. Workers, as I mentioned, receive a certificate after each course, and after their 2nd semester, FPSC has devised a nice little treat, a nice little celebration, a reward for them for all our hard work. It could be in form of a gift certificate. It could change up during the course of the SAW program, but we will recognize them by the end of the 2nd semester. So the additional support that we give, workers are going to receive support and mentoring throughout to keep them on track while they're learning, because they are going to be learning on their own time and at home basically, or anywhere else they choose away from the workplace. We want to make sure they stay on track. We also keep you informed with weekly progress reports on everyone, where they are, what they're taking, what their marks are, etc. Each program is going to have a designated start date, and it's going to end on a predetermined date. You know, we need to do that to manage it from our perspective. Workers will continue to have access to the courses post the end date. They can review some of the courses, or they can complete the courses, but right as the program stands now, whatever courses they have completed by their predetermined end date are the ones that are going to go on their transcript. So post-program, we're going to have an assessment just like we had at the very beginning. We'd like to see what gains there are. Again, this is really kept confidential. the participants need to know that, because in talking to some test groups, they're very concerned and did not want to take the program if they felt the employer would understand their literacy level. We have a lot of different situations with our workers, whether they stopped at grade 8, they could be someone in their 50s that only went up to grade 8, or they could be a new Canadian. We want to create a safe and healthy and strong workforce, and the literacy level should not impede anyone. So there is no pass or fail. I really want to stress that. But the surveys, the assessments and the surveys are really key to evaluating the literacy and knowledge gains and letting us know if we're on the right track. So at the end of this, it's congratulations, you have completed the program. So FPSC will prepare and mail out a special graduation package for each employee. We'll send it to the employer for distribution, because we've heard from employers that they would like to have a celebration at their end. In addition to their program certificate, workers and employers receive a special recognition certificate. And there's going to be a certificate that lists all the individuals from that cohort or session, as we call it. And that's a really great thing to mount on the wall, because nothing is as motivational as seeing one of your co-workers has completed this program. Like, why can't I do it? So it just has a really good snowballing effect, and it recognizes you and it recognizes the workers for being part of this groundbreaking program. So I mentioned post-training surveys and evaluations. Okay, data is important. Okay, and FPSC throughout our labor market studies and choice book reporting, we provide industry and government with facts needed to guide future workforce solutions. We can't do that without actual data. So what we'll do here in DPM Research are the program evaluators, and we will share our information and reporting with the employers. So what we do is, after each semester, we have a really short survey. Basically, we want to know what the employee experience or the EX was with that semester, how they found the courses, and so on. We use that to promote continuous improvement within this program, and certainly our participants teach us a great deal. Post-program, we're going to survey again at 3, 6, and end at 12 months. Employers are involved here as well. Your voice and input are key to the success of this program, and this program really is for employers. So it has to work, and we spent a great deal of time talking to our employers and listening to them, and taking all the comments and making adjustments, and that's been working quite well. So we have had our first test group, our first employer test group, and we're really proud to share some of the comments from our first employer stream test group. This test group had varying levels of responsibility and roles, various literacy levels, although some were at a higher level. It should be noted that we also asked what, if any, barriers the employers had in taking the courses, because we are trying to establish a self-learning environment. So what were those barriers if they encountered any? Keep in mind, these workers did participate on their own time and during a pandemic, when time pressures at home definitely came into play. And despite the challenges, the courses were taken, certificates were earned, and we are really super proud of this group. I leave the comments for you to read. But it's really interesting. In some cases, they were a refresher. In some cases, they finally understood what they were doing. Some of the comments dealt with understanding better what their coworkers, what their roles were, and what their responsibilities were. And the comments were really exceptional. So succeeding work really it's a win-win for industry, from the job seeker stream, which trains in a classroom setting for 4.5 weeks, to the employer stream, which allows, for the first time in Canada, businesses to test drive their own learning institute and develop a continuous learning culture at no cost and no downtime in operations or production. So we are really quite proud of this program. So we need you to do it. We need you to sign up. So you can call me directly, or you can go to our succeedingatwork.ca website for even further information. But sign up, it's free. And once you do that, it's really short. We just want to know where we can get a hold of you so we can carry on and get in touch with you. And I promise to be in touch with you and answer any further questions that you will have. So we would like to add a nod here to our funders. So SAW is brought to you by the Government of Canada's Labour Market Partnership Support, Measures National Essential Skills Initiatives Program, and Food Processing Skills Canada. I have to add here that we have been really fortunate to have incredible program analysts on this project, and have really worked with us. We've encountered a lot of socio-demographic changes. You know, we've learned a lot about how we're going to train up our next generation of skilled employees and how we reskill the ones we currently have. So, you know, it's hats off to our analysts and the support that they've given us so that we can in turn support industry. And if you're not certain what we do here at Food Processing Skills Canada, we support Canada's food and beverage manufacturing industry, whether it's from inputs to outputs and associated industries in between. So we support program funding, labor market information initiatives, industry roundtable sessions, training, education, just anything you could think that you would need to support this industry. We're also very strong in accreditation and education and training. So if you have a moment, go to our website and learn about all the wonderful things that we do. Thank you. So I'll turn it over to Christy, and perhaps we have some questions.
Thanks, Deanna. We don't have any questions so far from the audience. If anyone is being a bit shy, don't be shy. Write your questions in the box if you can. I have a question, Deanna, and I know perhaps it's a bit early, but you said you had a test group, and even though with COVID-19 they were still able to do it, how do you find that now that we're having some of these extra challenges with COVID, that will this program be easier to implement, or is it more relevant than ever before? Like moving forward, is it versatile?
Well, I have to say that, you know, I was really struck by some of the comments that I personally got from some of the participants. You know, it's a very, very uncertain time right now. There's a tremendous amount of job insecurity and personal safety insecurity going on. And, you know, when this all came about and this test group was actively taking these courses, the comments that they found relief, they found a renewed sense of confidence that they have a job at the end of the day, that their employer wasn't going to go under, because they wouldn't be training me if they're going to go under. There's a tremendous amount of insecurity out there, and this really improved morale, and it was highly motivational. And for those reasons, as we're going forward to what I call the post-normal era, we need to place more emphasis on training the individuals, not just the role or the title, because those individuals ultimately are the ones that we're going to need to move around and to adapt to jobs that we don't even have right now. So this is actually the perfect time to be undergoing this. And, you know, for the employers as well, we understand the tight margins, we understand the constraints that you're under. There's no cost to this program. So if you think about the costs associated with creating your own learning management system, getting it implemented, you know, we've worked with some larger organizations that have more resources than most of our small to medium-sized employers, and they were even taken aback by how much this program delivers and all the benefits that they have. So here we have an opportunity to really, really, really move forward, you know, as an industry, and, you know, professionalizing the industry. We talk about that a lot, but when you think about what professionalizes an industry, education does. You know, people define themselves by, you know, what title they have, or what education that they've had, or what job they have. We have to bring that pride back. We did a choice book survey through our labor market information studies at FPSC, and very few people actually understood what we do. We start this program off with a course called I Am Food, and even those that have been in the industry for 20 years say, wow, I didn't know we did that. You know, so it's time that we, you know, lifted up our chins and said, hey, we are essential. We feed Canada. You know, we are the most important industry we have in this country, and we should all be proud to be part of it with whatever role that you have.
Well said. Just to get a feel for, like, how is it easy for a company to implement this, or like, what can you give us a sense of the timeline if a company can contact you, and how long is the implementation phase? Like, how long can they expect it to take, I guess, for the training?
That really depends on the company, and we try to be extremely sensitive to everything that's happening right now and flexible as well. I will get back in touch with whatever employer, whatever business contacts me first. I'll contact them within 24 hours. And then we set up a time to discuss some of the things perhaps that we haven't discussed in this 1 hour. Then we take a look at the course selection and we start discussing some program start and end dates. That usually the ball goes back into the employer's court because they may have certain time frames that, even though this is not undertaken during workplace training at like workplace hours, some employers have decided that they do want to give an afternoon or some other time. So we've kept this totally flexible to the employer's needs. We can get this up and as fast as a month or even less. But again, we're sensitive to the employer's schedule and we'll work accordingly.
Great, fantastic, thank you. And that kind of leads into, we do have some questions rolling in now from the audience. My first question, have you found that employees are eager or excited to be taking the courses for the purpose of education itself? And were any seeking to be compensated for the time that they were taking the course? So basically, if they were paid to do it, they would do it, or was there, what was the interest level on behalf of the employees?
That's a great question. And employers ask me this question all the time about what about compensation? So we now have a system where you can, in our industry, people are promoted or given additional hourly remuneration based on longevity versus competencies gained, right? So here we have an opportunity to instill within an organization a competency-based approach to whether it's promotion or hourly wage. We have, for the employers that I've spoken to, they have by far said that they would prefer giving a completion bonus to those individuals that have completed the course and then go from there. And the workers that have taken the course thus far were excited to do so. And it's funny, it's a cultural thing, isn't it? We have a lot of new Canadians and they seem to embrace the availability of education quite strongly. That piece of paper, that certificate to them is really important. They're now a Canadian, they have a certificate and GMPs. When it comes to, other members of our workforce, again, we face some digital technology skills and we do have that essential skill there with the digital technology literacy. And the comments I've gotten back are that they're surprised at how their kid, this is going to sound fine, they're surprised at the comments their kids make about them learning, and it kind of really makes them feel good about that. It makes them feel better about themselves. And,
makes them feel good about themselves.
We need to have that paradigm shift. We need to make the learners more responsible for learning what they need to be adaptable going forward. It shouldn't always be on the employer's shoulders.
Thank you. And I have another great question. This is actually from a job seeker. This person is not currently employed in the food industry, but is seeking to get back into the food industry and is asking if it is possible to take the course as an individual, or is it only geared to employers?
No, certainly. Succeeding at Work started out as for the job seekers, okay? Our goal was to take, underutilized members of our society that for whatever reason didn't have a successful employment history and train them and teach them and give them the education. It's a 4.5-week in-class program. And then, the output of that, or the outcome, is to create a sustainable pool of job-ready candidates for the food industry, because we do face some tight workforce shortages, and we need to have these individuals. So absolutely, please apply again through the website. There is a job seeker page that when you apply, we'll get in touch with you right away. And we do have locations across Canada where we are doing this now. Going forward, we have our COVID plan. So the COVID plan may include more online learning. We've asked our location coordinators what they think they could manage in terms of physical workspace, accounting for distancing and so on. So yes, job seekers are definitely welcome. We need to have that sustainable pool of job-ready candidates for industry. Get in touch with us and apply.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Deanna. There are no more questions. So on behalf of the Canadian Institute of Food Science and Technology and Food in Canada magazine, we thank you for your informative and entertaining presentation today. Just a reminder for everyone, thank you. A reminder for everyone that we are hosting webinars every Wednesday for the foreseeable future. And I can share some of the following dates and speakers with you right now. On June 3rd, we're having Glenn Fraser and Johan Tommy of MNP. June 24th is Dr. Simon Samogi from the University of Guelph, and he is the Errol Chair in the Business of Food. And on July 29th, we have Dr. Ricky Yada, who is Professor and Dean of the Faculty of Land and Food Systems at the University of British Columbia. Other webinars are being planned, and we will be adding them to the calendar in the days ahead, so please check back frequently. Just to let CIFST members know that CIFST is running a webinar featuring Jeremy Miller, who is the best-selling author and founder of Sticky Branding, on June 17th, and to watch your inbox for webinar updates. And thanks again, everyone, for attending today, and enjoy the rest of your day.